A civil society organization is clamoring for ways to address the sexual gender-based violence with objectives to curb online gender-based violence (OGBV) for women and girls in Nigeria, while stressing the need to address challenges faced when women and girls come online. TechHerNG launches an online platform, Kuram, and reveals that there will be remediation and access to justice when reports are made. KAFTAN correspondent Mavis Ako gives more details in this report.
A civil society organization, TechHer, has launched Kuram, an online gender-based violence response website designed to provide an avenue for women and other vulnerable groups to report cases of digital violence perpetrated against them. The launch event, which held in Abuja, converged various stakeholders drawn from civil society and digital platform owners. Stakeholders added that Kuram is set to provide various resources critical to addressing OGBV threats affecting different vulnerable groups across gender, sexual orientation, class, and background.
How can we get justice for people who have been, victims of online gender-based violence? And this is important because you may say it is online, it's not, nobody's inflicting injuries, but in fact, injuries have been inflicted, right? You have cases where people talk. I've gotten a case before. She's a 19-year-old. She came to me. She says she's been threatened with pictures. And then I asked her, how old are you? She said 19. She says that her partner has her pictures. And then she took me when she was 16. And the first thing I said is, that's child pornography. That's literally child pornography plus revenge porn. And then she goes on to say, oh, it's my fault because I just told her, stop there. It is not your fault. You are the victim. You are a victim. And then we will make sure that we solve this thing.
KAFTAN is a platform that we want to use to curate incidents of online gender-based violence. In the work that we do, we see every day that women experience violence online. And we can't keep talking about bringing women online, bringing women into digital spaces without addressing the challenges that they face when they come online. And so our team has worked really hard to put together this simple website that women can go on and make reports and speak to violence they might have experienced. But also, we will then work on the back end to ensure that there is remediation and access to justice when they make these reports. It's for our people. So whether it's our community, whether it's people within the LGBTQIA community, whether it's people living with disabilities, we have platforms and we've set up this community of lawyers. It's also why we're going to be engaging the Nigerian Bar Association. We're going to engage the police so that it's a 360 solution for people who have suffered violence in Nigeria.
Also, an interactive session to facilitate conversation on legal provision in tackling OGBV and accessible solutions to protect vulnerable groups brought together relevant stakeholders working to respond and prevent cases of OGBV violation and others.
Is that we're going to create a prosecutorial manual. So the prosecutorial manual is a document that would flow from a compilation of all the laws in Nigeria that online-based violence can be prosecuted from. So when that prosecutorial manual is produced, we will now approach law enforcement agencies such as the police, EFCC, DSS if they're interested. We will approach them and then we will train them on online gender-based violence and tell them, give them statistics of the effects, the impact to people, why it's dangerous, that it should be left to fester. Then hope that they will be able to take it up from there to prosecute every perpetrator that they find. Because with Kuram, we'll be able to link women and girls who are going through online-based violence. So with that, we can do a referral to law enforcement agencies. And when we now do this referral, their own duty is now to prosecute. So when they are prosecuting, our own duty is to be a pressure group on them. While we are doing pressure group, we are going to be doing advocacy as well.
The center of focus for this congregation is site functionality, especially for persons with disability an accessible solution to protect other vulnerable groups. Also, stakeholders were encouraged to share the website's intervention within their communities as active players in the fight to end violence against women in all forms. Further calls were made to security agencies and policymakers to recognize and act on the nascent threats of OGBV. From the nation's capital, Mavis Ako, KAFTAN TV News.